All right, guys, time for my favorite anthology horror movie, Creepshow, from 1982. George A. Romero, Stephen King, Tom Savini. We got a whole ensemble cast of fucking Hal Holbrook, of Fritz Weaver, of fucking who else? Leslie Nielsen, Ted Danson, Adrian Barbeau from The Fog and Escape from New York, Swamp Thing. Like, come on, man. Like, there is just Tom Atkins. Like, this is just a horror fan's wet dream. Like, I would love to be around in the late 70s, early 80s after like Dawn of the Dead and Savini's work on in that movie and Romero's being already famous for Night of the Living Dead and then Dawn of the Dead, and just hearing about this movie coming out as a horror fan back then has got to be fucking unreal. Like, looking forward for this movie. Having Stephen King and Romero working together on a film with Tom Savini doing the effects, man, like, awesome, awesome stuff. And I am so happy I found this. I was looking for it weeks ago, couldn't find it anywhere, and I was getting really mad because I don't have a lot of horror memorabilia, like mostly like what you see behind me all the time. But Creepshow, the comic from 1982, right after the movie came out. This shit is sick. Like, love this so much. This is probably my favorite horror memorabilia or item that I have. Just so good. Just the whole comic, going through the movie, with the crate. Awesome. So cool. So happy I found that because I was going to be very fucking upset if I couldn't find that comic book. I forgot where I even got it. I tracked it down to like a local comic shop or something like years ago. Like, I got real lucky finding that. It's probably worth something. Fucking 1982 it's from. It's in pretty much like perfect condition. But I would never sell that. That is, I hold that book dear to me. And just from the opening of this movie with the establishing shots of the house and how you're listening to the fight between Tom Atkins and the kid Billy, Joe Hill, fucking Stephen King's son, went on to become a great writer in his own regard. Like, and there's so many, it's just an ensemble cast in this movie. Like, so good with the casting that they did. And just, yeah, with the whole opening establishing shots of the house and hearing the argument in the background, and then just how it pans closer to the house, and then it panned even closer on the window with the jack-o'-lantern, and just the music. Like, Harrison's music in this, the score is fucking great. Like, it is so good in this movie. And he went on to, I think this was his first film that he scored, and then he went on to do Day of the Dead, which is fucking one of my favorite movies like ever. And again, Savini there, Romero there, and I think he went on to do, what else did he do? There's another big movie that he scored. I can't remember off the top of my head. And just the whole epilogue, prologue of this movie, the wraparound with Billy and having to fight with his father. And something that always bothers me when I see this movie, it's just such a small thing, but like right before Tom Atkins smacks Billy in the face, like a split second before his hand hits, you can see like the makeup of the bruise on his face, like the handprint from him smacking him. I don't know. It's always bothered me. Like, it's kind of obvious, but not too obvious. But if you're like really just looking at like his face when he gets slapped, you can see it like pretty well. Like, I don't know why they didn't edit that a little better. But just all the dialogue, like not even just in this wraparound, like in the whole movie, like it's almost like Tarantino-esque like dialogue. Like, even if it's not stuff pertaining to the story or anything, like it's just engrossing. It's just intriguing to listen to. Like, just all the dialogue and all of the bits in this movie, and just so many quotable lines too. Like when he's talking with the wife and he's saying, "I took care of it. He's not going to be reading any of that garbage again." And he's like, "That's why God made fathers, babe. That's why God made fathers." Great. And then the credits, even the credits in this movie is fucking fantastic. Like, just with the whole comic book style to this movie. This movie is so stylish, and just the use of lighting and colors and everything throughout this film. to like really hammer home that comic book feel. They did such a great job editing this movie, shooting this movie, like everything about this film I adore. Like, this is a film that I watch like once a year, like pretty often. That's like pretty often for me to rewatch something, like at least once a year, maybe even sneak in another watch or something, because I know I watched this early this year, and now I just rewatched it again. So I absolutely adore this movie. So we have the first story, Father's Day, which, like I was saying, like, not a lot happens in this. Like, the first half of this whole story is just Sylvia and her niece and nephew and the niece's husband, Henry. I think his name's Henry, right? There's so many names in this movie. And her just filling in the whole story about Aunt Bedelia and what happened. That the father had a stroke and he was a fucking crazy person and he was like a bootlegger and he got like assassins for hire to kill Bedelia's lover. And it's just such great dialogue. Like, it's just like, it never gets boring at any point. Like, I never feel bored watching any of the stories in this movie. Like, even if it's not a lot, like in the last one, and they'll creep up on you. It's my least favorite in the film. But even that, like, the dialogue just carries, like, the majority of the story. Like, it's really, really well done. And all the shots of the father screaming for his cake, and Bedelia killing him with the ashtray, and him pounding his cane and stuff, I want my cake. And just the way that it's shot, man, with like the fucking like mirror, like cartoon picture with the shot inside of it, and like just a series of shots like that, just to really sell that comic book look. Like, so good. Awesome stuff. And then Bedelia drinking at her father's grave and cursing him out, basically, and saying that you called me a bitch and all you wanted was your damn cake and everything. And she's drinking by the grave, getting drunk, and this is something she does like every fucking year, like on the dot. You can set your watch to her at 6 o'clock. And then him coming out of the grave and choking Bedelia to death, the corpse looks so good. Like, all the effects in this movie look so great. Like, either pretty damn realistic, but like not enough to take it out of that comic book realm. Like, it's so hard to describe, like, the gore in this movie and the effects work by Savini. Like, he just did such a good job, like, making everything look so good with the effects, but not going overboard. That it looks too realistic or too shocking, that it stays contained within this whole comic book style that this movie has and portrays. Awesome. And the color usage with all the lighting and stuff, like, it reminds me of Argento a little bit. Like, we get a lot of red colors and lighting in here. We got a lot of blues. Like, really sells it. Really reminds me of Argento a bit. And then we have the grave falling on I keep wanting to say Henry. I'm pretty sure that's his name. But Henry's Hal Holbrook's character in the crate. So who knows? Like, the husband. And is it Hank? Maybe something with an H, I'm pretty sure. And the tombstone falls on him and crushes his head. And then, like, awesome. And that's the longest song ever that they're listening to and dancing to in the house. Like, Sylvia comes out and says, like, turn that shit down, like, now. And then, like, 10, 15 minutes later, that song is still playing. Like, it's the longest tune ever in a horror movie. And then we get the shot of the maid's face in the door window when Sylvia goes into the kitchen looking for her. I love that shot. Something so eerie and creepy about it. Like, just seeing the maid's dead face pressed up against the glass window, like when she opens the door and she doesn't see the body right away. And then she sees her head there. And then the corpse comes out and twists her neck and breaks her neck. Awesome stuff, man. And then we get, it's Father's Day. I got my cake. And it comes out with Sylvia's head on the platter with the candles. Awesome. So good. Love that. Then story 2, The Lonesome Death of Jordy Verrill. We got Stephen King acting here, which I mean, it's so bad. Like, his acting is so bad in this, but that's the point, too. Like, he's playing this character that is supposed to be this over the top and ridiculous. Not that King's acting is really any better than anything else that he's ever acted in, but it fits. Like, it fits the character of Jordy. So, like, you can't really bitch about his acting in this. And we have the meteor falling, and then just all his fantasies of selling the meteor. And, like, the first one, too, like, when he says, I wonder how much this is worth up at the college. And then they have the fucking fantasy, and he walks through the door, and on the door it says Department of Meteors. Like, that's so funny. Like, there's some funny shit in this movie, too. It's like, not $200, not a cent less. 75. Nope, $200. Miss Verrill didn't raise no idiots. Then he breaks the meteor. Then he has that whole fantasy of bringing the broken meteor in. And he's like, broken meteor? He's like, I wouldn't pay you 2 cents for this. And then we get his classic line when he puts his finger, meteor shit. That's such a classic line, man. That is so funny. Every time I hear that, crack up. I used to quote that, like, when I was younger, like, a decent amount. Like, just randomly, just to see if anyone would get it. I'm like, meteor shit. And then, like, the wrestling match that he's watching, like, a cute little callback to himself with Bachman being one of the wrestlers. And you can hear the announcer saying his name a few times. And just him having that little callback to his pseudonym that he wrote under with... I love his pseudonym, Bachman's books. Like, The Long Walk is phenomenal. And the Regulators, and if you could even find a copy of Rage anymore, like, that fucking story's been out of print for, like, decades now, and you could see why. Like, basically a school shooting. Like, definitely a crazy story. Like, if you haven't read Rage by Richard Bachman, Stephen King, try to find a copy of it, or, like, find it online, do something. Like, definitely an interesting story of his. And definitely a very controversial one of his as well. And just the doctor's office fantasy, when, I don't know why this cracks me up every single time, but when the doctor's like sitting over here, and then Jordy's like where I am facing the doctor, and out of nowhere, like that prop anatomy, like skeleton that you see in like classrooms and stuff, just like slowly rolls behind Jordy, like for no reason. Like nobody is like moving it, and the doctor is on the other side behind his desk. So for some reason, this skeleton just rolls slowly behind Jordy's character, and it cracks me up every single time. I don't know what it is about that. And then we get like an actual home video of Stephen King from that era spliced in here with him surrounded by grass and drinking fucking liquor starting in the morning. I mean, good for him for cleaning up like pretty decently early in his career. Like, I forget when he really cleaned up. Like, it was like, I remember he doesn't remember writing Cujo, like, at all. Like, he was completely drunk and coked out of his mind writing that book. He doesn't remember writing Cujo at all, which is just, that's crazy. Like, not remembering writing an entire book. Like, you got to be fucking partying hard, man, to get to that state. To just be like on a months-long blackout that you don't remember writing a novel. Like, dedication, man. And just the line, and you can tell, like, he's probably coked out of his mind, Stephen King, when he was filming this. Like, just the way he's acting and stuff. And yeah, like I said, a lot of it has to do with, like, the character he's portraying. But you could tell that this guy is fucked up. You could tell he's coked out of his mind the way he's moving around. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened with my voice right there. I was recording fucking too many videos today. Fucking, but yeah, just like, you can tell he's fucked up, like, without a doubt. And just like with how goofball of a character Jordy is, and Stephen King's acting in this, just the way he delivers the lines when he's talking to his father in the mirror, and he's like, you're not going to get in that tub, will you? Like, that'll sign your death warrant. And him just saying, like, I'm a goner anyway, Daddy, ain't I? Like, I got that meteor stuff on me, and now I'm going to be gone. Like, something about those lines, man, it's fucking sad. Like, most of us have the privilege and the pleasure of not knowing when we're going to die. but like knowing that you're gonna die like real soon, that's gotta suck, man. It's gotta be fucking terrifying. And he, especially in like this type of way, like he's getting taken over by like some like mutant plant creature from the fucking outer space. Like that's gotta be fucking crazy. And then just his whole thing throughout this whole bit of him saying about his luck and like the whole Verrill luck in his family, and that it's always bad and he has terrible luck all the time. And then when he's fully engulfed and looks like a plant and shit, and he reaches for the gun to kill himself, and just his little like, let my luck be in like, just this once, and he fucking blows his head off. Something sad about that too, man. It's like, like this guy has had such bad luck his whole life that he's so worried that he's gonna fuck up blowing his head off and like still live and fuck that up too. Like awesome ending for this, like such a funny skit. And then I love in between that and the next one how they show the comic book in the trash, and you see really quickly the voodoo doll ad, and you see that it's been clipped out just to like foreshadow the ending. Really cool. Like I love that little foreshadowing. And on to the next story, something to tide you over. Man, you got Leslie Nielsen in here. You have Ted Danson in here. And just the whole way that they bounce off each other and their chemistry, it's fucking amazing. Like it's so satisfying to watch the two of them in this story. Like just the way that they act together and just bounce lines off each other and just so good. Like, I mean, it's fucking Leslie Nielsen and Ted Danson. I mean, more so Nielsen. I mean, he's a fucking legend. This guy's been in like 200 and something movies and TV shows in his career. Like, man, I miss Nielsen. Like, he was so good. I just want to tell you all good luck. We're all counting on you. Like, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Airplane. Who doesn't love Airplane? And then, like, being in this, buried in the sand, left there to drown, it's got to be one of the worst ways to go. Like, it's not like just regular drowning when you're like, if you can't swim or something, or if you're being held under the water, like you're submerged in sand up to your neck and you can't move at all. And then you know the water's coming. That's fucking scary shit, man. And you have to watch your lover, the woman that you love, on TV drowning or in the process of drowning before the TV short circuits. Like, that's fucking evil, man. Like, Nielsen plays such a great crazy person in this story. Like, the guy can do anything. Like, Nielsen, one of the best actors, I would say, of the 70s, 80s. Like, nobody can beat him. Like, he was fucking unstoppable. And then Nielsen's whole description to Harry about how he's got to hold his breath. And like, you might be able to get out of this. The tide might set you free, Harry. And he's like saying like you hear your heart beating, you hear how fast it's going. Like, you're not going to be able to hold your breath with it beating that fast. And just like instilling more fear into this guy when he's already buried up to his neck. Like, that kind of reminds me of Tourist Trap. Like, for anyone who hasn't seen Tourist Trap, just skip forward 20 seconds, whatever. But the scene when Slauson is putting the fucking, what the fuck, the plaster of Paris on the woman's face, and he's describing to her like what's happening, and like saying like sealing her nose up and sealing her eyes up, and saying like, now your world is dark, you can't see, and then like saying like, once I put it over the mouth and stuff, then you're gonna hear your heart start to speed up, and you're not gonna suffocate, you're gonna die from your heart bursting, and just the anxiety that must add to the situation. And that's what this reminds me of. Like, just describing to Harry not just the situation he's in, but just like really fucking with his head, and like saying to him like, yeah, like, you better like hold your breath, and like your heart's beating real fast now. And like, once you get someone into that thought process, you can make them feel anything. Like, you can make them feel absolutely anything. You could say to them like, your legs are starting to feel like cement, aren't they? And they'll start feeling that just from the adrenaline pumping and the actual feelings they're feeling and the fear and the anxiety. Like, you can just plant fucking, like, feelings and thoughts in someone's head in that condition, which is terrifying. Like, absolutely. And then the fucking music in this part, man, with the down, bow, 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 fucking amazing. I love that music so much, and the way that it's synchronized up with the shots of Nielsen's house. Like, I was just like, shoots from like one part of his like room, and then another part, and then another part, bing, bong, bing, bong. Fucking awesome. Like, the editing in this movie was so well done. And gotta hold your breath there, Harry. Gotta hold your breath. Then with the zombies of Harry and Becky coming, the water zombies, they look great. And they're getting shot in the head by Nielsen, and just the effects look awesome. Like, just like every other effect that Savini has done ever, basically. Except for Friday the 13th, the first one, which I mentioned in my video for that, with Annie's neck slit. Something just never sat right with me with the color of her neck. And then somebody commented and actually made sense and said that it looked like they didn't start pumping the blood right away. That would cover the different color of her neck, like cover it. So that makes sense. But like every other effect that this guy has done was just unreal. Like, the master. Like, along with like Bottin and Baker. Like, those are like my top 3 effects people. Absolutely amazing work. And then after he tries shooting them a few times, they're saying, come to the beach, and just the way that they talk with like the gargle, like sound coming out of them, like they sound like they've been fucking drowning in the ocean. Like, and it sounds so good. It's so effective. And then Nielsen being buried in the sand. I can hold my breath for a long time. Such a great closing line, man. That's my favorite. No, the crate's my favorite. That's my second favorite story in this film. The crate, moving on to the crate right now. I fucking love this. Like I said, my favorite in this movie. Best story in here. Everything about this whole bit is excellent. So good. And it is so fucking hot in this room, man. I gotta stop. I gotta bring a fucking AC unit down here because it is too fucking hot. And it's fucking like 4 in the morning. It's just, this room is naturally hot. Like, it's always just like the hottest room here. And I gotta fucking just at least bring a fan down or some shit. Like, I did that one time because it is so hot. I feel like I'm dying. But the crate, so awesome. Fluffy we get here. Just call me Billy. Everyone does. Fucking just the whole way Adrienne Barbeau portrays just this nagging, annoying, like mentally abusive wife that Henry just wants to murder at every chance that he could possibly get, and just all his fantasies and stuff about killing her. Like, when he in front of everybody just pulls a gun out and shoots her point blank right in the head, and then the guy starts and they all start clapping. And the guy's like, hell of a shot. And like, so funny, man. And then when he's taking his tie off a little later and he just like strangles her with the tie, and then she's walking away. It's another fantasy. So funny. Such great stuff. And then we have the crate with the 1834 Arctic expedition on it, which was funny. I just did Jason Goes to Hell, and the crate is seen in the basement of the Voorhees house, which is a lovely little nod to this movie. And then just the red lighting and stuff when Fluffy grabs the janitor's arm, like as soon as they get the crate open and he reaches his arm in and he gets pulled into the crate and the fucking lighting just turns red, and just the way that fucking Fritz, what the fuck's his last name? Weaver, that's it. I don't know how I forgot that. The way that Weaver fucking portrays fear in this story, amazing. Like, this guy looks so scared from what he sees that when he shows up to Henry's house, like, what a fucking performance, man, that this guy gives. Like, he really looks terrified. Like, absolutely chilled to the bone. Like, he did such a good job portraying that, like, just incomprehensible fear from the things that he just witnessed. And just, like, the janitor getting eaten completely. Like, Like after his arm gets stuck in there, and Fluffy just starts munching on him, and the blood's dripping down his body, and then the whole body just works its way into the crate, and he gets eaten whole by Fluffy. Such great stuff. And Fluffy is absolutely iconic, man. I would always wanted a movie just revolving around Fluffy and the crate. Like just a full movie. Like that would be so great to have a full movie revolving around the crate, and maybe not like get into the whole history of it, because the mystery is like really like pretty solid around it. Like it kind of sells it a lot better. I don't really need any like explanation of what it is, where it came from, but just like Fluffy on the loose and like just running around town and mauling people. Like a creature feature featuring Fluffy from the crate would be absolutely awesome. And then how he rips Charlie's neck, like just bites into his neck and rips the skin out. Like it looks so good. And then he shoves his head against the wall and scrapes his face. Awesome, awesome gore. And then Henry's whole note and his plan. Just the whole concept of this, of knowing that there's this, he doesn't even know what it is really. Like fucking when the hell's the character's name? Fritz's character. When he comes in and he's just petrified, he doesn't really say like exactly what the hell happened. He just says like there's something in the crate and there's 2 people dead and stuff. So like I don't know how like Henry knew exactly like that he was able to bring Billy there and have something kill her for him. But regardless, the whole premise and idea of him writing this note and luring her to this fucking college to be eaten by like an abominable snowman is fucking brilliant, man. Like that is so brilliant. Great, great stuff. And then when he's shoving Billy under the stairs, and like before that when he's laughing and she's like, what are you laughing about? And he's just like, the way he portrays his role too, of just like this downtrodden man, this beaten man that from his abusive wife, this annoying nagging bitch that he's wanted to kill forever. And then like when he's so close, he can't even contain himself. Like he's hysterically laughing. It's like he's like so happy, like, oh, it's coming, like yes, I'll finally be rid of her. And then like when he pushes her in there, and she drove that whole way with that glass of milk. Like I noticed that on this rewatch. She fills up the milk at home while she's reading the letter, and then she drives all the way to the college, and then she walks down the stairs to Henry, and she still has the glass of milk in her hands. So I've never heard of somebody driving with a glass filled with milk anywhere. Like really, like I don't know. That was just another random thing for you. And then just him just like pushing her in there and just like wake up and screaming at the crate, wake up, and he's fucking slamming her up and down against it. And then nothing happens, and he's like just like completely distraught that like she's still alive, and then she just starts going off on him and just calling him every name under the book, and you know, shit for brains, and you're no damn good in bed. When was the last time you were a man in our bed, Henry? And if you ever lay a hand on me again, then right there, fucking Fluffy comes out and eats the fuck out of her. Then they just go. He goes back to his place, and Fritz is there, and they just like say, you know, there's no bodies. I took care of it. I threw the crate in the quarry. And what if it gets out? Oh, it's chained. It's all the way down 70 feet below water. Like it's drowned down there. Then we see the crate open, and his eyes just stare out. Which, come on, like if you know that this thing is in this crate, get like at least a dozen chains and chain that shit up so tight. Take that crate, put it in a bigger crate, lock that shit up with like a dozen or more chains, put that in a dumpster, chain that up, then put that down in the fucking quarry. Like, I ain't taking no fucking chances. Like, come on, really? Like, he doesn't think that that thing could burst out of a wooden crate? I don't know. Like, from one look at Fluffy, I can absolutely figure out that this thing is not confined to this crate if it doesn't want to be. which calls into the whole mystery too of like, why was he sitting there under the stairs, never tried to break out since 1834? Like that's what I love about this whole story is just the whole mystery surrounding the crate and Fluffy, and we know it's from the Arctic somewhere, and that's all we know. Like that's all you need to know. Like the mystery of it is so like engaging. Like it really makes you just start pondering, what the fuck is this thing? Like it looks like a fucking Yeti or something, but like it's been alive for like 140 something years. And it can just eat people whole, like 3 people, like within like an hour or two. Like, so awesome. My favorite fucking story in this, and it is my favorite story in a horror anthology film, without a doubt. The Crate, fucking number 1. Fluffy, number 1. Henry, number 1 character in an anthology series. Fucking Billy, one of the most annoying fucking characters in a movie, like ever. And then we get to number 5. They're creeping up on you, which, like I said, this is my least favorite, but just for the effects work alone at the end is worth it just for that. But just the whole character of Pratt and Mr. Pratt and everything, like he's just such a fucking germaphobe, racist, fucking doesn't give a shit about anybody. Like, he gets the call from, it's his, what the hell's her name? I think I wrote it down. Katzenmeyer, fucking, after the husband shot himself because Pratt's company, like, took over, like, all the stocks from that company that Katzenmeyer was the head of. And just getting the phone call from her and saying, like, you killed my husband, and he came in and I saw his eyes, and his eyes have never looked like that before, and all he could say is your name. I hope you die. I hope you get leprosy. I hope you get cancer in the worst spot. And he's just like, he starts fucking playing the violin, like, awesome stuff, man. That's so funny. And it opens up with the jazz tune from the end of Evil Dead, which I fucking love that too. Like, that is one of my favorite closing credit songs in a horror movie, is Evil Dead, with that little so awesome, man. That is such a great little tune, and it's great to hear it anywhere. So to have it in Evil Dead, then like a year or 2 later have it in this, that tune must have been popular back in the early 80s for some reason. I don't know. And then when he says to Miss Katzenmeyer on the phone, and he's like, how'd you get my private number? Like, I want to fire that person. And she's like, I got it from my husband's address book, you son of a bitch. He's like, well, I can't fire him now, can I? Like, he's so fucking evil, man, this guy. He is so cruel. And the way that he compares, like, Katzenmeyer and like his other workers and stuff as bugs, and that they'll creep up on you and stuff, and then just having all the roaches and stuff be his demise, like all the people that he's fucked over in his life, in his career, all the lives he's ruined, all the like money that he's cost everybody. The roaches are a great little symbol of that, of coming back to fucking bite him in the ass and to fucking kill him and to take him out. Really, really cool. And that is the most stereotypical black character in a fucking horror movie that I can think of. Like, who comes up to the fucking, and I love how they shoot that. Like, it's just like through the fucking peephole, and he looks through and he's just like, hello, Mr. Pratt, sir. Like, and he's like, don't talk to me like that, like I'm crazy. No, sir, I ain't saying you is crazy, but like, come on, man. That is like the most stereotypical racist shit. Having a character, a black character like that. It cracks me up every time, though. Then him saying that racist shit, when him saying, like, I hear people of your kind do very well in the service business. Black people, like, or colored people, whatever he said. Like, fucking evil guy, man. And then with just the way that they shoot all the roaches. Like, I remember them saying, like, there was, like, tens of thousands of cockroaches that they used for the end scene and stuff. That's a lot of cockroaches, man. Like, I'm not really scared of bugs, but if I saw fucking 10,000 cockroaches in my room, You could fucking better believe I would be out of the house so fucking fast. Like I'd become fucking like Quicksilver. I'd be gone. The Flash just be totally gone. And then he gets a heart attack after he goes into his little confined like bedroom, his little panic room, and the power goes out, and the exterminator or whatever is stuck in the elevator and can't get up there. And then Mrs. Katzenmeyer calls again and saying, "I will hope you die." And then like the third time she says it, he lifts the sheets off and all the roaches are crawling on the bed, and then he dies. Fucking like she gets her fucking wish. He just dies of a heart attack from seeing all the fucking bugs. Then just the next morning when it's not the next morning, right? It's when the power comes back on. And then him just laying there and the guy trying to reach him on the intercom. Then just the cockroaches, man, just bursting out of his face and his chest and neck. And it looks so fucking excellent. Like, it looks so good, the effects. I can't praise Savini's effects in this movie enough. Like, or any film that he's done effects for. But for this movie, man, he did some great stuff. And, like, Fluffy was, like, a new thing for him. Like, he mostly just, like, was into, like, you know, makeup effects and stuff like that. He didn't really, like, get into puppetry and stuff like that until this movie. I forgot, like, who showed him. Like, I remember an interview with him or something like that. Maybe it was Rich Baker. Maybe, I'm not sure, but somebody like taught him like the basics and stuff of like working with puppets and like puppetry, like effects and stuff like that. And this was his time to shine with that, with making Fluffy, and he made an absolutely iconic character. Like, who doesn't fucking love Fluffy, like I said. And then we get the whole epilogue with Savini having a little cameo here as one of the garbage collectors, and they find the Creepshow comic in the trash, and they're going through the pages, and X-ray glasses, and fucking like all these other stupid things. Then they're like, "Ooh, an actual authentic voodoo doll," and somebody already sent away for it. And then we see Billy stabbing his dad's voodoo doll in the neck over and over again, which is a fucking grim ending, man. Like, you get this little kid fucking that's just fucking stabbing his father to death in the neck, like with his voodoo doll. Like, such a great fucking movie, man. Like I said, my favorite horror anthology film ever. Like, without a doubt. Like, I can't think of one that comes close. Like, Creepshow 2 comes close. Like, that's like the only one I can think of. And I don't know if I'll have that up. It's 5 a.m. I'm going upstate to see my daughter for the week. So I can probably got to be up in like 4 or 5 hours. So I don't know if I'll get Creepshow 2 up tonight, but if anything, I'll have it up tomorrow night after I get upstate. It's like a 6-hour drive, so I won't get up until late tomorrow night. But Creepshow 2, and then I'll probably do Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, because to me, and to most people, that's the real Creepshow 3. Like, the Creepshow 3 from the 2000s I don't even remember it. I just remember it was terrible. Like, I saw it once, never saw it again. I never really had a desire to. I mean, if it's streaming somewhere, I'll give it another chance, just the completionist that I am, and if I'm doing a series or franchise, and I just gotta do them all. So if I can find Creepshow 3, I'll suffer through it again. Who knows? Maybe I'll get some more out of it with a more like analytical eye that I've been rewatching all these movies with since I started this channel, and now that I'm like analyzing them more and discussing them. But yeah, Creepshow 1982. Fucking don't ever forget it. Creepshow. Jordy Verrill. God, I love this fucking thing. So happy I found that. But alright, Creepshow 2, probably tomorrow night with Tales from the Dark Side. And then Argento, Opera, Trauma. If I can find Stenhall Syndrome somewhere online, that too. And Mother of Tears. And then Halloween. And then Found Footage Friday. And then who knows from there. And then who knows, like I always say, if this plan's going to fucking pan out. But in some way or form, those are the movies that I'm going to be rewatching and doing this week. So, alright guys, wherever you're from, good morning, good night. Hope everyone's safe, and take care. See you tomorrow.